Welcome to another episode of Atila TV. Our guest for today is the amazing Trevor Sookraj.
How's it going?
A lot of people I interview tend to be very driven and like involved in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And more like, what sort of drove you to get so involved in journalist activities?
Yeah, I'd say, so I have an older brother, he's 4 years older than me. He's also went to Western as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think having kind of a mentor and someone to look up to and see, how should I be, doing high school properly. A lot of his advice around getting involved and being extroverted and kind of being involved was really helpful to me to kind of shape my high school career and what I wanted to get out of it. So I think that was kind of the main reason that I got very involved early. And then after a while, your friend group is built up around these clubs, sports teams, etc. So you just keep going with it more for the social aspect more than anything.
You have AO when you came into...
Yes, yeah.
And then, so you're going to get to that part of the story as well?
Yeah. So the gist of that was kind of after first year, decided that Ivey wasn't a good fit because of the interest in tech. And then also it's very anecdotal, but I met a few friends that had gone into those paths from arts backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
So people that, still go into consulting in those routes, but didn't do a business program, they might have gone to, U of T, international relations or something like that. So I thought, okay, it's still an option, I want to do tech, but I didn't take 257 in second year, didn't renew my application for any of that kind of stuff. So I knew I was probably committing to the Huron route.
It's really interesting too, because you know that I interviewed Annie's the last guest, and she also had the exact same thing.
Exactly.
She wanted to go to Ivey.
Mm-hmm.
So then you thought that you didn't want to go to Ivey because you thought you knew you wanted to go to tech.
Mm-hmm.
But didn't you think as well that maybe Ivey might actually help you get into tech?
That was another piece there about the whole mentor stuff that was really helpful. One of my fellow interns in my first year summer was Stephen Song. So he was a guy that was doing the product internship there, and then went on, now he's a PM at Facebook in the Valley. So he was in HBA 2, a dual degree with computer science, software engineering, something in that practice. And I was chatting with him about it to figure out, is Ivey a good fit? I was chatting with the HBA graduates that worked there, because there are a number of Ivey students that work at Shopify Plus, and asked them what their experience was. And Steven introduced me to Annie, who I chatted with my first year summer to figure out, what's your path? She was working at Pivotal at the time, was in a BMOS kind of degree, so I was curious about what her path was like. So I think the feedback that I got was, at that time, Ivey was not great for tech. They didn't have, now it's improved significantly, leaps and bounds in terms of companies like Drop, Wealthsimple, Google, APM coming recruiting on campus. But back then it wasn't as well known. And their advice was, you can really focus your path in Huron, for example, and have a lot more free time to really craft your narrative about how you want to go into tech. So that's kind of when I decided I probably wasn't going to be doing the HBA program.
Okay, to be honest with you, I'm still trying to figure out how to word this question.
Mm-hmm.
But the general idea now is, you can either take the route of, advice you would give to your younger self, or you can give some general advice you can give to the audience how you're watching, like something finally I'm going to think about or a piece of advice.
Yeah, I would say the advice or the thing that I would implore myself at a younger age, and also a lot of other people to think about, is constantly be reevaluating your decisions in your life, and don't be afraid to deviate from the norm.
Mm-hmm.
So I think some of the most successful people that I've met have stuck by that philosophy of saying, just because there's precedent in this path, that doesn't mean that's the only way to that path. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that path's for me. Mm-hmm. Just because I'm doing an internship here does not mean that has to be my next career path. I think it's very easy, especially in business paths, to be caught up in this rat race of how do I get my first internship? Okay, I got this. How do I get this internship? How do I get a return offer? How do I exit to this job? How do I get into an MBA program? You're always thinking these sprints. Basically, that's the way I think it's a sprint mentality. Yeah. What you got to be thinking about is longer term.
Marathon.
What goals do I want to get accomplished in the next 5 to 10 years? Mm-hmm. And then what are all the different ways I can get there? Whether that is traditional paths or non-traditional paths. And then what skills do I need to learn to accomplish those goals? And then how do I gain those skills? Mm-hmm. So for me, that has been working for incredibly smart people. So over anything else, just if you have an incredibly smart manager that inspires you, that has a really good grasp of what you want to learn, that's incredibly valuable. I would say skill set wise and understanding the skill sets you need to succeed. So for me, that was marketing and sales, everything involved in marketing, SEO, paid ads, that stuff. Sales in terms of how do I manage a pipeline, outbound sales, all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of the approach that I would take that I think is universal for anyone. Mm-hmm. Just because you're in, medical sciences does not mean you want to be a doctor, does not mean you have to be a doctor. You don't have to commit to that path. You can do your MCATs and decide I don't want to be a doctor. You can get into med school and say you don't want to be a doctor. but just constantly reevaluating your life, I think, will get so many people more happier with where they're currently at, and also think moving forward, here's where I should be, how do I get there? So I think that's the biggest thing I would say to my younger self, because I didn't do it nearly enough, and I still don't do it that often. But for everyone else as well, it can be a huge piece.
That's awesome. Beautiful note to end with. Trevor.
Awesome. Appreciate it. Thank you.